Hello dear ones, it's Hannah. I'm out for a walk today after doing a quantum healing trade session with a friend and fellow practitioner, Angie, who works in Texas. We did this online. And we wanted to get together today to bring forth some information to share with the human collective that might help us all as we navigate all of this bigness in the world and our own growth and expansion and ascension process. So this first part, I'm going to split it into two parts because it's a little long otherwise. But this first part is Angie as a practitioner and me bringing forth information for you. So check it out.
For our intention today, I think we were wanting to possibly float to the future here on Earth or the future somewhere else, because we know the Earth is working very hard to rise to a higher vibration.
So what I'm seeing is it looks like I'm looking in a plant, and it's a plant almost like a bromeliad, like with lots of leaves coming out, and it's showing me the sacred geometry. I'm not sure if that has to do with our travel to the future, but it seems like it's somehow symbolic, but simultaneously it's like showing me it's very green with bright red edges, pointy leaves, and it's also indicative of the lushness of this earth in the future. I don't know if it's this earth. It reminds me of what I have called New Earth in other explorations.
Is there anything else you see around you there?
I think I'm still landing because I'm just still seeing this close-up of this bromeliad type plant, and I'm seeing like a drawing over it of sacred geometry of like the spiral drawn in like off-white with like the angles that you sometimes see marked out like a shell sort of.
What do you think it's for? Do you think it can be used for something? The sacred geometry that you're being shown?
Let me ask. The words I hear are sacred geometry can be used for healing. For healing that which is inside of you and needs to be released now so that you can, it's like moving up the spiral to the next level. I don't know if you've heard that analogy, but like it's like the spiral keeps going up and expanding, and you can, I guess, somehow use the sacred geometry to move up to the next more expanded levels.
So it's kind of like so we can move up to more ascended.
Yes, like more expansive points of view, lighter, more lightness of being. When we talk about the light body, it is both filled with light, but it is also lighter physically. It's not as dense. And as you move up and expand, your body does the same essentially and metaphorically.
So as we move up on this newer Earth, are we going to stay in our physical bodies for a while? For what we would consider as a while?
Yes.
Well,
There it seems that it's a choice. Once you get to a certain stage of understanding and expansion, you can choose like whether or not you wish to stay in your physical body or explore other realms and dimensional vibrations of being that do not have or require a physical body. there are many choices once you get to that point of how you manifest and explore next.
Yeah, I was feeling that we may have a choice of how long we want to stay in our physical bodies.
Yes.
Like we can choose to stay in our physical bodies in this like higher dimensional earth for even 1,000 years if we're happy there, right?
Yes. Yeah, because it's aside from space and time, doesn't, it's not calculated the same as it is back in our third dimensional earth time space understanding.
Yeah, from what we know in time. So as we're moving to this higher dimensional earth, higher level of being, is it going to be like time doesn't even exist anymore?
Yes, once you get to the fifth dimension and higher, there is not a, time is understood very differently. It's not the same element of time that our lives are so intricately connected to in the third dimensional earth plane.
Is that why some people they're having loss of time and they're having time loops? Is that because they're starting to experience change in time to kind of prepare them for moving to the fifth dimension? Or is that some other reason?
It does have to do with expansion. It's not specifically just to prepare them, but it's part of the transition. As you raise in vibration, your concept of time diminishes, so to speak. It starts to dissipate and disappear, and you become more focused on the present now moment. Time is a construct that comes from the dualistic perspective of the third dimension of linearity. And as you start to expand more and understand wider perspective, that starts to drop away.
So time has to do more with duality of separation from source.
Time has to do with a third dimensional construct that your minds have created. The third dimension is not any more separate from source than any higher dimension. It's just a different experience of consciousness. And in that experience of consciousness, it includes this understanding of life in a linear perspective where there's a past, a present, a future, when in reality, they're all overlaid upon each other. And once you stop holding the energy of those things being in that linear perspective and just allowing energy to be energy and experience to be experience, you stop having a need to categorize it and define it in those linear perspectives of trajectory, and the need for times, need is sort of not the best word, but the feeling tied to time disappears as well as you begin to accept and understand this wider experience of how all of these energies work together.
Yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. It sounds like when we're in the third dimension, we're constricted by time. It's something for us to release and let go of.
Yes, which is not always easy for people because this is how your culture and society is set up. But as people do begin to expand more and raise their vibration and shift their perspective, it will fall away more and more, and those people will start living more outside of the time construct of your society, and essentially they'll be on their own trajectory into more expanded understanding. Some will hold
Is
on to
everyone
it
on
for longer.
is everyone on the earth going to move up to this higher fifth dimension and above?
No, not everyone will choose that. Eventually, yes. When souls pass on, they always have the option to reconnect with oneness and pure expanded consciousness. But in their earthly bodies, not everyone will choose to do that, because that is not their intention. When they came in to life, some wanted to experience these more dense expressions of life and consciousness and the spectrum of experiences that can be had there, which are different than in the higher vibrational realms.
So is it true then that people come in here with a contract of what they want to experience? So some people, in a simple way, if we look at it simply, some people are considered the villains and some people are considered the more positive, I'm here to help you type beings. Is that true?
We do not fully understand your question. We're not very fond of the word contract, but before souls incarnate, they choose the major lessons they would like to experience for a variety of reasons, all for soul expansion at the core. And some have not chosen to ascend, so to speak, to use that language, because there's also valid experience in having the option to do that and choosing not to, or in retaining the very dense third dimensional life and exploring the spectrum of consciousness of feelings that and emotions that are present there. Because of duality and understanding the depths of sorrow, anger, greed, lack, loss, etc., they're able to glean a different understanding of expansion and joy and love and gratitude and generosity, etc. And so it's a very exciting play for a soul to be able to experience that, and not everyone is wanting to go through the ascension process, although that is also an exciting event for those who are choosing to embark upon that journey.
So some people choose to stay in the lower densities, what we consider 3D, because if they experience hate, they can understand love deeper. Is that what you're saying? If they experience contrast, they can experience, they can learn in a deeper level.
Yes, it gives the soul a broader perspective, and can somehow sometimes deepen that, the way that they take in the lessons from that, which then benefits them on a soul growth perspective.
Do you not like the word contract because it sounds more restrictive or less of a free decision?
Yes. Beings, souls incarnating onto your planet always have free will, and from the higher dimensional realms, we do not view it as a breaking of a contract if they choose not to carry forth with the goal that they had set when they initially embarked upon that lifetime.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So, in a sense, if people are saying a contract is like we're self restricting ourselves while we're on this earth when actually we have free will.
Yes. There is also, with the word contract and duality, the feeling of badness if you break the contract, or the possibility of it lowering a vibration, and we do not wish to add any particular volume to those experiences, but rather to honor each person's experiences the way they wish to create them.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So we can look at it more of the idea. We create a general idea of what we wanted to experience in this life, and once we get here, we have the free will to change it up as we see fit as we go along. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. It feels much more free and much more in control of our own experience then.
and it indeed is.
All right, can I ask a little something about negative energies that float around us? I don't like to say negative and positive, but I've got to, separate them some way.
We could call them
Uh,
lower vibrational.
okay, lower vibrational energies like 5G, for instance, for our communications here on the planet at this time. Is this something negative that affects our bodies and our minds in a negative way? Is it something for us to, I don't want to say for us to worry about, or something for us to be concerned about?
Well, it is something humans can be concerned about. It has the potential to negatively affect your body and energetic systems. However, that too is a choice. When, as the author of your current life, given free will, you have a choice whether to lower your vibration to match that of worry about 5G, for example, or you can choose not to worry and not to allow it to affect you, because nothing is allowed to harm you if you do not, how do we say this? Nothing is allowed to affect you unless you give it permission. And sometimes the permission, it doesn't have to be outright as you might think of it, but you give something permission when you match its energy. You're choosing to meet it where it is. And so there will be many on your planet who do not feel or respond to the effects of 5G because they essentially have raised above the vibration of being able to be affected by it. But there are also many who it will bring challenges to because of their propensity to lower their vibration. When these tend to be the people that feel things deeply, that still are feeling very strongly that duality perspective of right and wrong or worry. And essentially, it's all being offered up in order to give the individual a chance to look at what is inside of themselves and heal, essentially, or raise their own vibration through it to a place where they are not affected, because everybody has that ability. But it does require gaining mastery over your mind and belief systems, which can prove challenging for many souls on earth.
That makes total sense. So essentially 5G is can be looked at the same as a cancer or any kind of illness. So if we keep our vibration higher than any of these energies around us that are lower vibrational energies, we can have a completely healthy physical body and completely healthy mind. If we keep ourselves in a high vibration where we're not in fear and we're not in worry. Is that correct?
Yes, but it's not the essence really of what's going on. All of these, like cancer or 5G, can be seen as tools for learning or reflections. If you think of the life around you as what's being mirrored back to you, you only react to the things outside of you in a negative way that exist inside of you. So really they're teachers showing you that there's something inside of you that is coming to the surface to look at and realign, like to regain your alignment with a higher energy perspective, knowing guidance and whatnot. Because from that perspective, there's no need to be afraid ever. So really, they're teachers. They're loving teachers showing you where there's something inside of you that can be healed if you are willing to look at them that way. So it's, yes, that healed state involves a higher vibration and uh, not being in touch with worry. It's more of a pervasive sense of trust and understanding.
I'm thinking of how for us to stay in the higher energies and not come down to the lower dimensions where there's 5G, there's people and there's things controlling us. There are people that have hurt us. You know, what to do, what are the tools? Like I see the lower dimensional energies as a place of worry and fear. And the higher dimensional energies, a place of forgiveness and love. So what
And
are
trust.
and trust?
Yes, so some of the very best tools that people on your earth use currently are essentially anything that gets them in touch with their core. For many, that is going out into nature, especially having some quiet time alone to do this, where you can really connect and not be distracted. Meditation, breath work, doing any sort of activity, creativity, where you're getting in touch with your inner guidance. So for many creatives, they use this creativity, whether it's painting or music or dance or whatnot, to channel this connection to higher knowing and guidance. But regardless of how it comes for the individual, the more you get in touch with this and feel that expanded feelings of unconditional love and connection to your own higher selves and higher knowing and the light beings that are around and helping you and source itself, the more you do that, the more easy it will be for you to hold that vibration. So if something happens and you find yourself getting pulled down, a good tool is to remind yourself, oh, that I see this happening. So to notice it and then to make time to go and do those things to get back into alignment with the higher truths and wisdom for you.
Let me ask you about that's really wonderful information. Let me ask you about what I tell my clients and what I do for myself. Clients will come to me when they're already upset, going through a lot. But what I like to look at it as is prevent, have preventative care. So have a regular thing that you do every day to keep you in the highest vibration, or regularly. Don't wait until you're, really upset about a job, relationship, life kind of thing. Do you feel
Yes,
that's the best? Like I start my day before I even get out of bed, of making sure and clearing out my day before I walk into my day. That sound
absolutely.
makes sense?
Yes, indeed. That ends up being that tool, in essence, ends up being a friend that you can turn to anytime you need that. And the more you connect, like if you do that every day or multiple times a day, the easier that connection is to reform when you've gotten a bit distracted from it.
Yeah, so then you can start to be more independent and more going deeper and deeper within yourself, instead of being in the state of being more frantic and needing a healer or needing a friend and kind of wallowing around in the lower dimensions. You can, plan your day before you even start your day or before you even start your week. Go into that meditative state or go into nature, breath work, some creative activity, and then
Yes.
maybe visualize your whole week as being staying, or your whole day or your whole week, however often you do it, that you're staying in that high vibrational state.
Yes, and this also sets the seeds for a more expanded and higher vibrational future, as you say.
Yes, so it keeps you more on that road to ascension.
Yes.
Is there anything else with tools that you'd want to tell us? That's really great information that you told us. I don't want to move out of it if you have anything else.
Following your love, creativity, passion, and excitement, those, if you are able to notice what brings you the most passion, excitement, creativity, and love, and stay in that space as much as possible, that will also help you navigate your way through your life in the highest trajectory.
So probably a lot of people who are watching this, or a lot of people we know, are they may be falling out of what they consider third dimensional jobs and relationships. Um, is there any recommendation with movement, positive movement, letting go of things in their lives that don't serve them anymore, so they can be in that state of following what they're passionate about and excited about? Is there anything you can tell them about moving out of the old 3D way of thinking, 3D things that don't serve them anymore?
Well, what comes forth primarily is the wish to have them remember to be grateful for the gift of those things changing, because oftentimes it can seem stressful or challenging or sad or hurtful, and the more they can remember what a gift it was to be able to have the experience, to learn and grow through it, and now to be on the precipice of this state of expansion where they don't know what's going to happen next necessarily, which can feel challenging or scary to some. But to be willing to be there and be in that discomfort, to honor what has been in the past, and to be willing to allow the future to unfold and to trust. And if they're in alignment, as we've talked about already, then it will be easier for them to trust. The more they can just allow that, it allows them to bring forth from this void of creation the highest possible timeline and trajectory for them in their lives into what you might term a more expanded or brighter future.
Yeah, and a lot of people may not trust that change because change is scary. I think people feel like, well, this job I have, I don't like it much, but I understand it. I'm afraid of change, or the relationship's not very good, but I understand it. I'm afraid of change. So what I'm feeling and hearing is it's best to walk forward, enjoying the change, knowing that the change is safe. And if you have movement, you're actually moving to a higher, better, more beautiful place where you have more love, you have more freedom, you have more passion and excitement.
Yes, and to allow yourself to be in that space of the unknown, and to take the challenge for some of being in that space without getting pulled into fear. It too is a gift, a lesson in that way, for them to hold that higher vibrational alignment and trust and love, and not to get sucked into fear about what might be because they don't know.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So focus on the trust and the love and release the fear.
Yes, and connection. Focus on that higher connection in all of the ways that you do and can. Wasn't that so amazing? It's pretty cool to see what sorts of information can come through in a quantum healing session. So if you have any interest in exploring more or learning more, then check out our information below. I'll list both mine and Angie's as well, and you can come check us out, check our websites out, and learn more about quantum healing. We would love to work with you. Okay.